Alright, hey guys, so welcome to my second tutorial here. A little more advanced than my first one, so you might want to pause every now and then to take a look at what's happening. But since I've been doing a lot of Pokemon on this channel, you know what? We're doing a Pokeball. That's right, guys. So the first thing we're going to need to do is come up here and spawn a sphere. Then on the right side here, we're going to switch standard here down to hemisphere. And segments needs to be 100. And now we come up here, select sphere, press C to make it editable here. Come over here to your polygon selector there, and then you can go select loop selection, and that'll kind of give you different rings like this. I'm going to select just the bottom ring here and press delete. And just based on that step right there, you can see what I'm talking about. You're going to need to most likely pause the video and go step by step with this one. So I'm trying to keep it as informative as I can. Hey, no one likes you. Without going too fast here, but also not trying to make it an excessively long tutorial here. But the next thing we're going to do now is go back up to our model selection. And we're going to spawn a cylinder here. So now we need to rotate this over 90 degrees and shrink the inside of it, like so. Switch back to our movement tool and bring it right inside there. And now the rotation segments, like the hemisphere, are also going to be 100. But the radius here needs to come down to 30 centimeters, just like so. And then the sphere on the top right up here needs to be dragged above the cylinder, which is just as simple as dragging it up until you see the left arrow, like so. The order is important because the next tool, if you come over here and select Bool from the top, if you drag these two into Bool like so, you see it cut out the little hole here. If you guys have that in the opposite order, the hemisphere is going to cut out of the cylinder, which you do not want. But once you have this set up, go ahead and click on Bool and press C, and then open it up again. And we're just going to drag just the sphere out, and then select the Bool and delete that along with the cylinder. So now you're left with just this cap. So I'm going to go to the rotate tool and along the blue circle here. Whoops. Actually, we're going to Control C, Control V to get a copy, and then along the blue circle, rotate it over 180 degrees with your rotate tool. Alright, and then we're going to come in here, the top again, and spawn another sphere. Whoops. Actually, there was one step I missed, so we're just going to go back and do that quick. So polygon tool, select all, right-click here, and extrude. And for the select all, that's just Control A if you didn't know. And the offset is going to be 2 centimeters. Then we're going to apply it. Right, now we, model select first. Then we roll her down to 180 degrees. I just deleted that one because I didn't have the other one extruded. So now I have it even. Now when we put the sphere, instead of taking it all up, it actually just goes in the middle, as you can see right there through the ring. And now, once this is here, we're going to need to come up and spawn another cylinder this time. And we're going to rotate that straight down to 90 degrees. Grab the little square pin right there and shrink it in real tiny like this. The movement tool once more to drag it out. So if I zoom in here, oops, a little far, you can see this little diamond shape. That is the sphere inside. So we need to pull this out until you just see it disappear. Alright, and then select this, set the segments here to 100 also. And the reason for that is to smooth out the edge here, so when you have the Pokeball button inside, it's a nice round and not jagged at all. And now, like last time, the radius we're going to be lowering here. Oops. So let's see. See, 23 looks about good. So we're going to set that to 23. And we're going to come up and get another cylinder going. And we're going to do the exact same steps as last time. Rotate it over 90 degrees. That is not what we do. We shrink it down. Drag it through. 100 rotation segments. And the radius this time, we're going to come down to, let's see, 18 looks pretty much perfect, but it's a little far out, so there we go. So there you go, you've now got a Pokeball. So for the next part, we're going to come up to the top and we're going to highlight everything. And we're going to right-click that and come down here to Group Objects. So now it's all together. So now we're going to come down to the bottom part here under Position for the Y. We're going to set it to 105 cm. And we're going to hit Apply, which is going to move that up. And the reason for that is we're going to come up here and hit Floor. And that's just, the 105 is going to have it above the floor ever so slightly, because the floor does have a bit of depth to it. So just 100 wouldn't get you level with it. You'd have to go for 105, like so. And we're also going to come up here and toss a background in there now. All right, so we're going to come down to the bottom left here and go to Create New Material. And then double-click it to bring it up. Open the color palette here. I'm a fan of purple, so we're going to get a nice light purple going there. All right. And then highlight both the floor and background on your top right. Then right-click your material and hit Apply. All right, next thing we're going to do now is right-click on Floor here, go to Cinema 4D Tags, and come down to, I have no idea what I was about to say there, but compositing. I have no idea what I'm saying. I haven't slept yet, if you haven't noticed. But going down to the background there. So basically what this is going to make it essentially an infinite loop of background and floor, instead of just having this little square here. So if we render this out now, you can see it continues off into the background like so, instead of just ending at the square. But of course, that's not a Pokeball. It's gray. But before we get onto the colors, first we're going to hit a light, which is this button up here. And then over here, this nice little green one is your array. We're going to hit that too. And now, the array, what we're going to do is bring the radius right here to 500. Then we're going to take the light and drag it into the array. And its Y position down here, just like the Pokeball, how we moved it up, will be 500 as well. Oops. I did it on the light, so let's do that once more on the array. So now when we render that out, we have a nice lighting effect on it instead of it just being colorless. Alright, so now we pretty much have everything finished. The next step is to create another material like we did a minute ago. Open it up, and get a nice full-on red going there. Go to luminance here, leave it on nice bright white, put it on 5% or so. Reflection, we're going to fire that up as well. And put that around, let's say 15%. And we're just going to drag that onto the lid. So let's take a look at that rendered out. It's got a nice little effect going on it there. And we're going to get new material once more. This time we're going to go not quite all the way black, but kind of like a dark gray. And the reason we don't want to go all the way is for the reflections to still look proper. So 10% on the reflection here. Luminance will be on, but only at 5%. Oops. I believe I selected the color in the wrong spot. I'll just go back and fix that real quick. There we go. And we're going to drag that into the middle piece there. And we're going to create one more material. This one's going to be a nice bright white. Luminance on, reflection on. The same as before. Luminance on this one's going to be a little bit higher. We're going to have this one at 15. And the reflection here is going to actually be up to 30. I'm going to drag that onto the bottom shell, the center button, and the ring next to the center button. And now we need to go back up to the light, and where it says shadow on this little drop down right here, we'll put that to shadow maps soft. So now we're going to render that out. Now I have a nice looking Pokeball here. It's got the lights reflecting off of it. It's got the shadows coming around the ground with it and everything like that. So the final step now is just to bring it over to the rotate tool, actually select the ball, and get a nice looking angle on it or something like that. That probably looks nice. There we go. We've got a nice looking Pokeball there. The luminance and the reflection values I put on all the materials here. I just threw that together for the sake of the tutorial. If you guys want a nice looking Pokeball, you're going to have to play with it a little more. Maybe change the saturation a bit or anything like that. The colors are just quickly thrown together on this video, so you will have to play around with that. As well as with the lights here. Whoops. Lights. You do have the ability... Where did it go? Is it on the array? Yeah, it's on the array. So you can go into the copies here, and as you can see, as I'm making more and more copies, it's changing the lighting effects here. And if you change the radius, if I change it enough at least, you can slowly see the change coming through. Like if I jump it down to 100, you should be able to see it big time, like so. And when we render that out, of course it's going to look a lot different, because now the shadows also has changed, because if you take a look at the lights, what's going on there, let's bring it down to 50. This tool, what's basically going on is, array, it's coming closer and further apart. So when it's further apart, it has the ability to bring the light on the sides, where it doesn't when it's together. So depending on what kind of look you're going for, you can change that around. And at this point, that's pretty much your entire Pokeball, and you're good to go. So see you next time, guys.